Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new Sit Down with Big Vito, right here on the Big Vito brand. I am Virtue, being joined by, of course, Big Vito Lagrasso and Dr. Jargo. Gentlemen, what's up?
What's going on, guys?
What's up,
Peter?
Everything?
What's going on?
All right. Well, we got to start the show off with a congratulations to Mr. Virtue. Finally crossed the bridge. All right. He's on the threshold of marriage. Congratulations.
True.
Congrats, buddy.
That whole special episode of Getting Color this week, right, Vito? We talked about it.
We had a great show on Thursday, on Monday. Mr. Jargo, do you have any well wishes or advice for our friend here?
Whatever Leslie says is probably right. Just go with that. Smile and nod. You know,
Don't take pictures with cats. Don't take pictures of nature.
Whatever Aaron Riff does, do the opposite.
Yeah. I took notes for a while not to do that. So we should be good to go.
We should be. We hope. Has it worn off that you are engaged, man, now?
It hasn't been a week yet, so I don't think so.
You still walking on hearts and butterflies?
Sure. I mean, it seems that way. It's been busy at work this week, so it's kind of been a blur, but busier than normal, put it that way.
I mean, Mr. Jargo, I mean, he's madly in love, and he invests in the studio. He's got his man cave, keeps the kids out.
On the level, Virtue, here is the best advice I can ever give you.
All right. Here we go. Here's some advice.
People say that marriage is hard and that it's like, that it's the hardest thing you're ever going to do. And it's a two-way street. Marriage is the easiest thing I've ever done. Once you have the right person, as long as you communicate with one another and you're respectful of their feelings and they're respectful of yours, it's the easiest damn thing in the world. We're coming up on 10 years this December, and none of it has been work. It's just been absolute enjoyment. As long as you got the right girl, it's not work. It's really, really freaking easy.
No, that's some good advice. No, noted. I mean, for myself, we just passed the eight-year mark, and we have a pretty good relationship. You know what I mean? We rarely fight or argue, which I think is really good. There's one thing I hate is confrontation, and I hate arguments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the one thing this goes for everybody out there. I think you guys would agree about this, and this is something to really think about. If you're not happy in a situation, why stay? If you're miserable, why stay? Why make the both of you miserable, right? If you don't like the accommodations, you know what I mean? And this is not directed at anybody. It's just a saying. If you don't like the accommodations, the front door is there. Make your way out. You know what I'm saying? And nobody should be forced to stay in a relationship. Nobody should be asked to stay in a relationship. You know what I mean? And I think that's the best advice, ever. You have a problem with your girlfriend, your wife, your fiance, you come up with those simple things. Listen, you're not happy with the accommodations here. I'm sorry it didn't work out. Free forever leave.
Noted.
That's the best way to do it.
Yep, absolutely.
Calmly. And I noticed this is just something like a man thing. The calmer you say, let's break up, the more angrier the woman gets.
Wow. That's true, though.
That's a good observation. Me being, just a couple years younger than you guys and been in many more relationships. I find that, baby, they ain't working out. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, and it was what it was.
You're counting all the one-night stands, Vito?
Oh, yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been
it's not a hotel unless you are the Gumade. If you are the Gumade, definitely a hotel.
Definitely a hotel. And like I say to everybody, right? When you're the king of swing, the man of the bachelor, the guy who ran the clubs, you know what I'm saying? When you've been to Baskin Robbins and you tasted all 32 flavors 3 times over, you know what you're talking about a little bit. You know what I mean?
There you go.
So, Mr. Virtue, I have to ask you, Mr. Jargo, we and I were talking, did you burn the black book?
Did I burn it? Yeah, I don't have one of those around, so I guess you can consider it.
All right, now
burned. I guess
reset the cell phone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was reset a while back. Yeah.
All right. So you reset the cell phone. Now, the thing with the black book, it's funny we talk about this, guys, and this is a true story.
I almost thought you were going to say BlackBerry, but
no.
Those are for drug dealers.
Absolutely.
The black book is still in existence.
I believe it.
I still have it.
Oh, yours. I mean, in general, the theory of it, yeah. Well, you still have it.
I still
Noelle,
have it.
you watching this?
She is. She's over. She's walking around,
right now. She's looking for the black book.
But it has never been found. I have it in New York. I have it stowed away somewhere, right? And for as long as we've been together, and for as long as I've been together with previous ladies, I always had it with me. Funny thing is, some of the numbers still work. I don't know.
This is the Sitdown.
Strong all night long.
That's it. Now, Virtue, I know you're new to this, right? So, being that Mr. Jargo has been, like he's been following my lead, and Aaron Riff, he's been taking notes. Do you plan on Gumades? This is something that we want to know. You know what I'm saying? A young, debonair, distinguished gentleman like yourself.
I mean, what am I supposed to say? You're the one that said, like, it all started with the 2 for $20 at Applebee's, and then aren't you pitching 2 for $20 weddings, like, as well, or 2 for 2,000 weddings, like, Vito? Like, what am I supposed to say here, right? You're supposed
to say on air, no, I love my fiance. As you're nodding and going like this, so no, I love my fiance, but to the boys in the back. See you on Thursday night at a sight dynamite. Gumades overstrong all night long. Hey,
I'm just so old though, because when it comes to that stuff, like what we do, me and the boys, what we do.
Go ahead.
We go to movies and watch superhero movies. That's fun. We don't go out. We don't go to clubs.
You guys don't.
And then the movie's over and we're aching from sitting in the theater for a couple hours, and we all go home and go to bed.
There are no bowlers anymore out there?
I stopped bowling. I got a sciatic nerve issue in my back and butt, so I can't put the weight on that foot. So I'm currently out of action from bowling.
So now that we got the Gumades thing out of the way, so now to go with the Gumades, you have to have a good Italian restaurant to take it to. Is there one of preference in Cleveland?
There's a few, yeah, and we're not talking about Olive Garden, but there are a few mom and pop. There's a Little Italy by near Case Western Reserve, which is east of Cleveland here, where they got tons of Italian restaurants. So, oh yeah.
So now, Mr. Jargo, I got to ask you: when you proposed to your wife, I heard of some creative stuff. How did you propose to the missus?
Oh boy, with a stuffed kangaroo. Yeah. Have you ever seen the TV show How I Met Your Mother?
I actually have.
So How I Met Your Mother was basically kind of a very central character in the early days of our relationship. And on the show, when Ted proposed, he did it with a stuffed kangaroo. So I proposed with a stuffed kangaroo. True story.
No, did you hear about the Mr. Virtue and his real creative way of proposing?
I did. It was slick. Virtue had it all planned out. I guess my question for Virtue is: have you picked a date yet? Is it just we're engaged, and then you have one of these engagements that goes on for 15 years? It's not actually serious until
the planning's begun, dude. I don't have an exact date, but we know it's going to be spring of 2024. So we're going to probably have a date soon.
So I don't know if anybody ever knew how I proposed to Miss Noelle, right? When we first met, I took her dancing on the first night, okay, that I met, that we our first date. So some years later, I had a wrestling match for Damon Feldman, celebrity boxing, and I was going to Nepal 5 days later, my first Nepal trip. So She loves Atlantic City. So what I did was I booked a room. I booked a weekend, 5 days in Atlantic City. Right. So I says, all right, I got this plan. So I got dressed. I got in a suit. I said, hey, we're supposed to go to this press conference. Hey, we'll go to dinner in our old place where we got, where we had our first date. So I'm notorious for never ordering desserts. I said, hey, babe, says you want to go to the dessert thing and pick out dessert? She says, you never eat desserts. I said, yeah, we're dressed up. Let's have some fun, pick up some. So she picks out this tray of chocolate covered strawberries. So in the chocolate covered strawberries, I placed the ring. So out comes the dish, in the thing, in the middle of the thing. She doesn't notice it yet. I'm just smiling at her. And she finally realizes, and I pick up the ring. I get on a knee in this restaurant. You know what I mean? Just like in the, Moonstruck, you're on one knee in the Italian joint.
You said Atlantic City, right?
Yeah.
You had to be at the Borgata. Where were you? It's okay. Atlantic City. Let's just say it was the Borgata.
No, it was my favorite dance club. I can't think of it right now.
Okay.
Babe, what's the name of the place? Gumades King. I see Gumades King. All right. Anyway, so here I am in the middle of a restaurant. She's looking at me. She's not saying nothing. So all the people are watching this, and I'm on Adelphia. That's it, Adelphia. So yeah, babe, I can't remember. It was a great night in my life. Thank you. All right. Anyway, I'm sitting there on one knee, and the waitress has to tell her, listen, he's waiting for an answer. Are you going to marry him or not? So she just looked at me like, she goes, yes. So everybody in the place clapped. It was a great thing. Just put the ring on her finger, and there we were, and we're engaged, and off I went to Nepal. So talk about doing things in a big way. Atlantic City. Is
that the year you almost got killed in Nepal?
Yes. Yes. Way to go.
Now I know why your guys' song is Faithfully by Journey.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. Or one of your songs.
So, I mean, you talk about going all out for your lady. Weekend in her favorite place, the place you had your first date, dancing, everything. You didn't spare any expense. And what I told Mr. Virtue was the best part of getting married is doing the taste testing, going to the different restaurants and going to taste all the different foods. I had a blast doing that. I thought it was the greatest thing. I had the most fun with that. But I don't know, Mr. Jargo, did you have fun with that, or did you just let her pick everything?
No, I just kind of defer on everything when it comes to that. She has
much
better taste than I do. If I was ordering catering, man, we'd be getting like Pizza Hut and there'd be like Subway sandwiches and I'm a man of simple taste.
Wow. All right, guys.
We're missing something out.
Yeah, hold on. I'm missing something. What'd you say?
The hotel you took me to was where Macho Man won his first world title. Don't you remember?
The Trump Plaza or whatever that was?
Yeah, the Trump Plaza.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the name of it.
So that's where the Macho Man, on top of this, where the Macho Man won his first thing, because she's a big Macho Man mark. I don't know why. But anyway.
Nice.
All right, guys. All right, let's get to some more serious business, okay? I called it on Monday. The Eagles were losing to the Commanders because they cannot beat those sons of bitches, and by golly, they lost.
Nobody goes undefeated anymore. I mean, the Dolphins was 72 Dolphins, and that was how many games was that? Was that a shorter season? 14?
16,
I think.
This doesn't happen, Vito.
No,
the Bills are melting down now.
Yeah. The Jets are right there in the thick of things. The Giants are 7-2. The Eagles, after their loss, went and picked up the best defensive lineman they could pick up in Dominican Suit. Anybody see that today?
I did see that today.
Right? I think that's big for their defense. Tampa Bay is back on its winning ways. They're 5-5.
A shitty division, so they're probably going to win it. Now, Odell Beckham Jr., guys, where's he going? Odell Beckham, does he have a knee left? I mean, doesn't matter. I don't even think it matters. He'll go there just to be that flashy guy to, hey, look who we got. I don't think he's going to produce.
You think he's going to Tampa Bay?
Brady likes to bring those guys in like that, though. But Julio Jones hasn't worked out because he's so decrepit and injured. But maybe. I mean, Beckham did do good last year when he got to the Rams and in the Super Bowl before he got hurt. he was looking pretty good, like the old Beckham for a little bit there. So I don't know.
I think he looks a lot like the old Beckham, and I think he goes to the New York Football Giants.
I think he goes home.
Now that they're winning.
All right, he goes home.
No, the Jets. How about the Jets?
I think the Jets. They lost.
Is that your team, Vito? The Jets.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that they have a big game coming up against the Patriots. This is the do or die game. We cannot beat the Patriots for nothing. If we beat the Patriots, I think we got over the hump. If we lose to them.
What a tough division that's become, though. Like Dolphins, Bills, like nuts, man.
No, it is.
Crazy.
It is. And the Green Bay Packers. I'm in shock.
Terrible.
I'm in shock. I cannot believe it. And Geno Smith tearing the league up this year. #1 quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, I think, is leading the league in touchdown passes.
Is that a surprise?
Geno Smith ain't winning you anything, though. He sucks. He could have those numbers and play in that system. He ain't taking anybody anywhere. Mark my words, Vito.
And the people in Denver have to be pulling their hair out of their head because they rot. We need a quarterback. Russell Wilson's there, and they ain't doing nothing.
Washed. One word.
You've got to put teams around these quarterbacks too. And I mean, it's the same thing in Green Bay. That roster is a mess. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is there, and then there's a bunch of dudes, and the roster is an absolute freaking mess. That's where Beckham should go. He'd be treated like a freaking god in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah, but they're not gonna make anything. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs.
Oh, I think they can still make the playoffs.
Who we talk about? Packers?
Yeah. The Packers.
Oh, I think Rodgers can get on a roll and they can get a wild card for sure. I mean, the
the
Vikings can collapse because it's the Vikings.
4-6. I mean, they could very well end up a 9-10 win team.
That's going to be tough for the Packers. I really do. Now, guys, we're going to switch over to basketball. Basketball, the Lakers are still a mess. Okay.
Well, yeah, and so are the Golden State Warriors right now.
Golden State Warriors, the Lakers, and the Nets. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you trade Anthony Davis finally? I think he is the biggest waste of money.
Yeah, they won a championship with him. You get rid of, I don't know, Russell Westbrook, and you got to get shooters that can make the shot. I mean, LeBron's struggling. Probably the worst three-point shooter percentage-wise that takes that many threes is LeBron. And so he shouldn't be taking threes. He should be doing LeBron things, and they need shooters that can make the basketball.
Yeah, but at this point, the Lakers are holding on to these 2 draft picks. They're 2 and 10. When do they pull the plug on the season? Because
3 and 10. I just saw the other day, 3 and 10. Yeah.
But for LeBron James to be on a 3 and 10 team, it makes me sick to my stomach.
It happens. I mean, the fact is he got that. That's the thing. The bubble happened, and he got that little chip. And it took once he got that, he's like, "Oh, I got my 3 chips, 3 teams." And I think the relax mode kicked. I don't know, man. If they didn't win that year of the bubble, I think we might see a better Lakers team right now. I just think he's become content to just record chase now. It's that much. I don't know. What do you think, Jargo?
I mean, he's chasing Kareem. I mean, above everything else, he's chasing Kareem, right? Of all the awful teams in the NBA right now, when I look at Golden State, when I look at Brooklyn, I'm way more worried about either one of those teams than I am the Lakers right now. The Lakers, and watching the Lakers, they're just not hitting shots. Eventually, the Lakers are going to shoot better than 27% from the field. And when that happens, they're going to be tough to beat. I'm not really worried about the Lakers right now. I probably should be more worried than I am. But I look at Golden State and that roster and how bad that team is. There's no reason for that. I look at Brooklyn and that roster and how bad that team is. There's no reason for that. When I look at the Lakers and that roster, I'm like, you know what? This team is going to compete when they start hitting shots. They're not going to shoot 30% for the whole freaking season. I just don't believe that.
I think that the Lakers, right, they didn't bring back Carmelo, and that's a big spark plug off the bench. Yep. And he's sitting at home. I don't know.
Nobody has him, do they?
No. It's just
he's like Odell Beckham. He's just out there hanging out and being cool.
Dominic and Sue, I thought if I had to put him on a team, I would have plugged him right in the middle of the Jet defensive line. I think that was the guy they needed to push them over the top. Their defense is stellar. They're good. But there are a couple
Cavs
other
are struggling after that hot start. Chemistry. Dude, I'm telling you, chemistry. The Golden State Warriors, the whole meltdown with Draymond Green and Jordan Poole. Klay Thompson still not 100%. Although people are like, oh, Jordan Poole should start for Klay Thompson. Okay, because of maybe him getting back to 100% from all those injuries, yes. Then I went and looked, Jargo, and even as bad as they have been, when he's on the court, when Klay's on the court, they're still +5. When Jordan Poole's on the court, they're -5. That, to me, that's still a difference. But I was watching some of their games. You know what I think their biggest problem is? Steph's trying to be a one-man show, and you're not going to win in the NBA being a one-man show.
If so, Russell Westbrook could have a whole bunch of championships.
Exactly. And Steph's always kind of been like that guy, but the other guys were always there to back him up because there's been playoff games where he struggled. The other guys picked him up. He's having the 40, 50-point games. Nobody else is doing anything. They're losing.
I feel like all these teams, with kind of the exception of Boston, right? Like Boston looks really, really freaking good. The question is, do they got enough gas in the tank to make a run at this thing? I feel like teams like Golden State, teams like Brooklyn, teams like the Lakers, the older, more experienced teams are just not playing defense right now. I mean, like Steph dropped 50 last night and the Warriors still lost.
Yep.
They gave up 130 points to the Sacramento Kings. Like they're just not playing any kind of defense. But then we're like, oh yeah, it's 10 games into an 82 game season and the season doesn't really start until Christmas Day. Then I'll get more worried.
All right. With that said, Russell Westbrook playing much better off the bench, averaging 18, almost 20 points a game. Not the triple-double machine, but he's being adequate. Do you trade him now? Because the Knicks have Evan Fournier, Derrick Rose. They have a couple spare parts over there that they could make a formidable trade. With the Knicks playing good, I could see Russell Westbrook coming off the bench for the Knicks.
Jargo, didn't you say a few episodes back you're going to see the Knicks right at that 7-8 seed, and that's where they're at right now, and they're playing good according to Vito.
They are playing good.
And the thing with Wes is nobody's going to make that trade because nobody wants that ridiculous contract. It's not the player, it's the contract. I mean, any team that wants Russell Westbrook, feel free. You can go ahead, give me a call. I'll give him to you for a box of donuts, but nobody is taking that trade because nobody wants that contract. I mean, and he's playing well off the bench, but if you bring in Russell Westbrook at that contract, you're not paying for the sixth man of the year. That's the problem.
If I were the Knicks, they got Evan Fournier sitting. They got Derrick Rose, who I love the depth. I mean, Derrick Rose and Evan Fournier, that's $40 million right there in money. And I think you have to be $6 million. You know, and throw in one of the young guys, a 3-for-1 trade. I think Cam Reddish is playing the way he was supposed to play.
But does that make the Knicks any better? And I just don't feel like the answer to that question is yes.
No.
Well, Derrick Rose is now contributing points. Fournier is now, and now you're bringing in somebody who's adding 18 points.
But it's still really early in the season, Vito.
No,
I mean, these guys are going to break down. These other guys are going to get more minutes. It's only 10 games into the season. It's an 82-game season.
All right, going to baseball now. Baseball news.
Baseball.
No, we got to talk about it because there's allegations of the Mets and
Tampering.
Yankees being tampering, bullshitting. I think the whole tampering thing, you all talk during the season. You got a bunch of rats out there snitching and yelling, everybody trying to get the edge, but Justin Verlander not signing back with the Astros, possibly going to the Mets or Yankees on a 2-year, $90 million contract. Now,
He got his chip. Now he wants his money.
Now, here's the thing. If the Mets have all this money available, if it was me, I'd give 2 years and $90 million to Verlander, 2 years and $90 million to DeGrom. You have the stacked rotation.
$90 million for 40 to 45 starts at best. Wow.
But
what is that a start, Jargo? Because you know nobody pitches 30+ starts anymore.
Well,
nobody.
I mean, if you got up to 45, that'd be $2 million a start. If you're at 30, that's $3 million a start.
God.
So.
But there are no guys. But if you had to put a staff together and you got the funds, people will come out to the ballpark. People will come to watch those 3 people pitch. And if you do an ABC in any 3-game series, 3 or 7-game series, you're automatically in the driver's seat.
It's just a question of what Justin Verlander are you going to get? Because I agree with Virtue 100%. He got his chips. Now he wants his money. You're going to get vacation mode Verlander. You're going to get about 80% of Justin Verlander.
And he's a big Taco Bell fan.
That's good enough.
He's a big Taco Bell fan, so that doesn't bode well.
All right, now we're going to switch to AEW news. And last night's house was the shits. I don't think what they drew 3,000 people, if that.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't even know.
The arena was empty.
I did see though. It's been consistent with that lately. I mean, unless they're in Chicago and it's like a big event, or what's that place where they do tennis in New York, Arthur Ashe Stadium. I mean, they're not drawing.
They are not drawing, and they're signing more and more talent, and they have more and more WWE talent sitting on the sidelines. What do they got there, Virtue?
What does who got?
I think he's looking up the attendance for last night. I mean, that was sad.
2,960.
Oh, my
3,000. That's what I said. 3,000.
Roughly 1,200 tickets left over.
That's disgusting.
Who's the draw? Nobody.
That's the thing right there. Who's the draw?
Yeah. I mean, and you have WWE talking about having guys like Stone Cold back at WrestleMania. They know they need to make their new stars, but at least when it comes to like trying to sell something, they know what they can do.
Well, okay, let's take a shot here, all right? Because I've been saying this for years. Dean Ambrose was the worst WWE champion in WWE history. Can we say that Jon Moxley is just not a draw? I mean, there's nothing about I think he's a hell of a talent, but he is not the guy that I am making the centerpiece of my card. He's not a world champion. He's a side attraction, right? I've always felt that way about Ambrose, Moxley, whatever you want to call him. He's just not the guy. And I think Saturday night they're going to make the change, and they're going to go to Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and we'll see if he can put butts in seats.
And look, guys, like this, I can't believe, like back in the day, you hear stories like people loved Hogan being the draw because the more the house drew, the more the mid card and the lower undercard would get if Hogan was huge and drawing. Yep. And like the Elite, they kind of like pushed Punk out and made him blow up. And I'm not saying he was making a world of difference in numbers, but like it's going south quick, and he's gone, and he has that niche group that loves Punk that have stopped watching because he's not there. I just can't believe these guys can't do business together, because they could have. What did they have, Jargo? 2,000 in that arena, and if Punk was here and everybody was happy and the Elite were, they could have had the 3,000. I'm not saying that's a lot. Wow.
Guys, I just think this ship is sinking over there, and I don't think this Maxwell kid is going to do anything except they're going to put a world title on him. And then what? Who does he go against?
Well, that's the thing, right? And I look at rosters a little bit differently than other people do, and I look at title matches a little bit differently than other people do. If you're going to make the change to a heel champion, I feel like you need to have a bunch of babyface challengers lined up for that heel champion to face off with, and AEW doesn't have it. If you're turning Maxwell babyface, that means you need to have a whole bunch of heels lined up in order for Maxwell to knock down, and they don't have that either unless you bring back CM Punk as a heel. And I do think it was interesting. They were selling brand new, just released CM Punk merchandise at the show last night.
And Tony Khan continues to put him over and praise him. Like, I don't know what's going on. But
if you get corporate Punk back, and you take the whole MJF CM Punk dynamic and flip it around, which is what I always thought was the plan coming out of All Out, that could at least be interesting, and then we'll see what they do with it.
All right, fellas. And as far as the WWE goes, Virtue's got Roman Reigns is still champion. The bloodline is still going strong. They're still trying to figure out who is the next champion of the WWE. Guys, who's it going to be?
I'll tell you after WrestleMania. I just, there's so many, like it can change so many times from here on out. I mean, do they put a new star over? Like usually traditionally you would put a new guy over, you know, having Roman take the title, keep the titles for that long, whether he faces Rock and beats Rock at WrestleMania, if that happens, and then say put us to SummerSlam. You could make a star, but do they know how to make a star these days? So you default then, if you don't make a new star, who do you drop it to? Vito's going to shake his head. Cody. You have Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar again, which I don't think we'll see that. Jargo, like, indulge me here.
I think the answer is Cody, as long as Cody is good to go by the Royal Rumble. I mean, I feel like that is option number one, because I don't think Dwayne, I'm functioning under the assumption Dwayne is not coming near a wrestling ring as far as in his underwear. So I don't think it's going to be Dwayne. If it's not Cody, then the answer is Sami Zayn. He's the only guy on that roster that I see right now that I want to see take the championship from Roman Reigns.
Guys, I'm going to pick the dark horse, and I'm going to say Randy Orton.
Assuming Randy Orton is going to come back, because the reports I'm hearing out of the Orton camp are not necessarily good. We may be Viperless for ever.
They have that sciatic nerve issue like I do.
He's got something going on that he was down talking to Dr. Andrews, and I know it's a back injury. So that's not good. When you hear Dr. Andrews and back injury, that doesn't sound good on a guy that's got as much mileage on his body as Randy Orton.
And Charlotte Flair news, any updates on what she is going to be doing?
They got to have something for Charlotte Flair to do. And right now, I think Charlotte is worth more to the company, not on TV, than in any of the crap that is currently going on. Let Rousey get past whatever Shotzi, I guess, is who she's wrestling at Survivor Series, and get this Damage Control Bianca Belair feud that's been going on forever out of the way, and bring Charlotte back when it matters. Hell, maybe you hold Charlotte off until the Rumble too.
All right, guys.
I think Charlotte will end up on Raw against for the Raw Women's title. That's what I'm thinking.
All right, guys, there you have it. Another good episode of the Sit Down. Guys, give me your closing arguments, your closing thoughts. Take it away, fellas. Go.
Jargo.
Social media at Not Jargo. Tune in tomorrow. I will be with Jimmy T over at the PWC, the Pro Wrestling Coalition, for a full gear preview, Dynamite review. Then we'll be back on Saturday for AEW Rampage Uncaged, presented by the Hameen Media Group, and enjoy the show on Saturday night.
Follow me on Twitter, just like it says down there, at NoDQ_Virtue. Go over to NoDQ.com where we do the review, 8 o'clock p.m. on Thursday nights. Jargo will be back one of these days when he is off on
about a month. Night. About a month.
Just plan for that. He will be back at some point. And Vito again, too, when he's not working. So that's all I got, Vito.
Guys, subscribe. And we're going to end the show on congratulations, Mr. Virtue. Wish you well. Everything's always good. And remember the saying here at the Big Vito brand. Gumades over strong all night long.
Catch Vito and the Big V Mafia on Twitch, Monday and Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern.